water. I don't think there's any cruiser out there who wouldn't argue that water is not important. It's a critical resource. And for a lot of us, we've got water makers on board. If we're coastal cruising, we might decide not to because you can get access to water almost any place you go ashore. But even if you have a water maker, even if you have easy access to shore water, why might you want to think about catching water on board? Hi, I'm Nico Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. I'm sharing some tips about why and how we still catch water on Calypso. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Lunatech, makers of the hydration spray bottle, odor-free dishcloth, and self-cleaning washcloth. Lunatech offers practical gear designed to save water and reduce waste. See, even there, we're talking about water. A water bottle that doubles as a garden hose, a dishcloth that doesn't get stinky. Yes, please. Visit lunatechgear.com to learn more. Use code BOATGALLEY, that's BOATGALLEY, to save 10% on everything. Lunatech, innovative gear for your outdoor adventures. And yes, innovative gear and outdoor adventures, I don't know about you, but my outdoor adventures are certainly happier when I've got lots and lots of water to deal with. We're sitting in the Marquesas, in French Polynesia, where almost every inhabited place we've been to, not that we've been to that many places so far, but almost every place we've been has a tap ashore where you can get water. You can take your jerry jugs, fill up, bring them back out to the boat. There's not necessarily a fuel dock per se. I guess there have been, I'm not even sure there's been a fuel dock where you can take your boat up to it easily. And I don't even know if they have water at the fuel dock. But you've been able to get water almost everywhere. It might not be potable, but it's definitely been good enough for showers or laundry. And we also do have a water maker. It's a small one, but it makes enough water for our purposes. So if you think that water is not necessarily a completely scarce resource around here on Calypso, you would be absolutely right. Still, it's worth putting the effort in to catch water when we can. It rained so hard the other night that there's a waterfall now gushing down the mountainside near the trail that goes across the peak to the village on the other side, and there was no waterfall yesterday. That's a lot of water. We actually put buckets and collapsible water jugs out, and in 20 minutes we had collected 20 gallons. Why are we putting the effort into doing this? We've got a water maker. Yeah, we can make water. Our little machine chugs out a little over 3 gallons an hour. No, we're not running a generator to do it. It costs us about 10 amps of electricity every hour. That's maybe working the bread machine that saves propane. Or that's internet time. Or that's charging our computers. A little effort today, the 20 gallons that we grabbed in a very short period of time, that's a savings of about 7 hours of runtime of that water maker. And while we're not going to drink the water we caught from the sky, we're doing laundry by hand. Being able to be lavish with the water use means that our clothes are that much cleaner. Means that we're not stressing about taking maybe slightly longer showers. And yeah, we have daily showers aboard. We could absolutely take our jerry jugs and fill from shore. That means taking the jugs, putting them in the dinghy, going ashore, finding the tap, schlepping the empty jugs to the tap, and then the full ones back to the dinghy. Then it's a matter of lifting those full jugs onto deck. And a full 5-gallon jug of water, that weighs 40 pounds. When we fill it from the sky, those jugs get to stay right on deck. No lifting required. So, how do we catch this water? Well, when we first cruised on Calypso, we didn't have a water maker. And we built the awning knowing that we would be catching every single drop of water possible. That awning had designed low points where Jeremy sewed in quick connect fittings, and when it started to rain, we could let the first few minutes of rain clean the awning off, and then we attached a hose, which we would then actually direct directly into our water tanks. Back then, we would just follow the World Health Organization recommendation for bleaching the water, and that's how we dealt with our water tanks. And we had lots and lots of nights filled with intense scrambling to set everything up when the rain started, and many, many nights when we sat on the settee, sort of exhausted at like 2 or 3 in the morning, just grinning, toasting to our incredible richness and our wealth of water once those tanks were filled to the brim. Now, since we have a water maker, our catchment methods are less fancy. Still awning based, although we've also caught quite a bit of water just in the Bimini. But the more widespread geography you have to capture the water and funnel it into something, the easier it will be to capture that water. So create a low point and a way to capture the runoff. Ours was very simple. We just tie the awning down, and we sometimes have the bucket used as the tie down point, or we just have the bucket waiting to catch where that low point directs the water. Rain cascades right off the canvas and into the bucket. It's not very precise, but it works. And then, because that bucket is more wide-mouthed, we use a siphon tube to transfer the water from the bucket into jerry jugs, because the smaller diameter mouth on the jerry jug makes it a little bit harder to catch water as efficiently, and then we can fill those buckets right back up again. Okay, you don't have an awning? Maybe you do the same thing on a Bimini, or you see where the water normally just collects and drips off, because they all do somewhere, and put a bucket underneath there to catch it. You could also just put the buckets out and have the buckets catch the water from the sky, which is certainly a feasible option if you're in a place with regular deluges. And don't forget the dinghy. It's an incredibly efficient catcher of water, as your baler might be quick to point out to you. Although it's definitely a little harder to ensure cleanliness, and it's a little bit more work to transfer that water from the dinghy into jugs or buckets, especially if the dinghy's in the water. But I would say that even if you have a water maker, even if you're coastal cruising and have access to decent water at any fuel dock, even if you think it's not important to know how to catch water, I would still argue that catching water is very, very well worth it. Excuse me while I go clean the stainless and then rinse it with all that fresh water that we just caught the other day. I can't wait to share an anchorage with you. Come by and say hello if you see Calypso somewhere, and we can toast to our incredible good fortune at being able to live this amazing lifestyle. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. We love hearing from our listeners. We love it when we know that we've helped you make boat life just a little bit better, because that, after all, is exactly why we're here. Have the most spectacular, spectacular week.